we would all ideally be in a tree procrastinating. But for now, today we have a great speaker on board, Matthijs Collard. He designates himself as a creative entrepreneur, and I know him as basically anti-procrastinator, but I'm sure he will tell us more about that. So I will stop sharing my screen. And Matthijs, the floor is yours to help us with our procrastination. I think you're still on mute, Matthijs, the other camera.
All right, got it. Thank you for the introduction. Nice to be here. And indeed, I got a message from Lodo thinking about me as the antithesis to the word procrastinate. And I really don't see myself like that. And I think I maybe just found a few tricks to make me not procrastinate. So actually, it's about tricking yourself not to do this. And I'm going to show you how I do that and where I got my inspiration to get a few things done. So I'm going to share my experience and I'm going to make it really practical. So let's call this presentation hands-on anti-procrastination. And let's see if I can help you with my experience. So I am also a certified GTD trainer, and I have become a trainer because what you teach is what you need to learn the most. And I felt that my life was really getting more complex with a lot of extra work. I got kids, I got a lot of things to do. And I really wanted to, well, get to my ambition. So I thought about doing this training and learn a lot about productivity and also keeping stress levels low. So I really deep dived into this methodology. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but there's also other methodologies I like to throw into the mix. But that's not all I do. This is just like a part-time thing. 2 years ago, I set myself a goal that I want to contribute to the advance of electric aviation. I want to pick up a bigger project with some significance. And I love to travel, but I hate to fly. I really suffer from flying shame. So I drive electric. But yeah, normally I get stuck halfway Spain and then I have to get back because, well, there's not so much infrastructure there. So I really miss flying. I like to do it. So I thought, okay, maybe I can do something about that. And I started talking to a lot of people. That's one thing, to not procrastinate, just talk about your plans with people and tell them what you're doing. And then I met a guy, he's an instructor and a pilot. And we started up setting up a company, which is called Eflight. And this next Monday, we're going to first start with educating and training pilots. So we bought 2 airplanes, electric airplanes. So you can see here the charging plug. This is me and my business partner. And we're going to start with a full electric flight school, the first one in the Netherlands and maybe even outside. We still don't know for sure. So that's what I'm doing. And to get this all off the ground since November, we had to do a lot of things. So we had to create a pitch deck because we needed some investors. We needed to fill a lot of forms to get all kind of numbers to get the company running. We had to draft all kind of agreements like a shareholder agreement. We had to negotiate proposals to buy these aircrafts. We had to launch websites. I have to build a booking system, find insurance, research subsidies to get some extra cash, write a syllabus for our education training, and write a press release. And this is just a small list of all the things we had to do. So I was quite busy the last few months, and with a lot of these projects, I had the procrastination problem because they're all big, they're ambiguous, it's just a lot of work that's piling up, and still you have to make time for that and actually start doing these things. And on the side, I also had my life with 3 kids. They're in lockdown, they're at home. We have a new puppy, and I have to walk the dog at 5 a.m., not very healthy. And also founder of Haiguan, and it's really easy for me to go into Haiguan. It's really comfortable, help people out. It really gives instant satisfaction. So I have to try not to do that too much. I'm also founder of the Voorhoede, which is a front-end development agency. I have a small investment firm with a few startups. I am very active at the school of my kids. I organize all kinds of activities. And I'm preparing for a pedal contest from the Elfstedentocht, 11 city tour. need to create some holiday videos. I need to go surfing whenever possible. And I have to buy a present for Mother's Day. You don't have to forget that as well. It's next week, Sunday. So put that on your list as well. So I'm just saying that there's a lot to do. I have a pretty busy life. I'm not working only. I also have a lot of fun events in my life, and I try to balance that. But the tricks I have to really do the things I find important, I'm going to help you with that. So there's no single root cause for procrastination. For everybody, it's different, and there's also no universal method to cure procrastination. So I'm just going to tell you what my experiences are in this case. So first, let's take a look at the perfect project, the perfect profile for procrastination. And that's a project that you have to do autonomous. So it's just you alone that are responsible. There is no deadline, or at least the deadline is not really tomorrow or next week, but maybe 3 months or a year. So it doesn't feel like a deadline. It's ambiguous. That means that it's doubtful or uncertain what the actual outcome is. It's not straightforward, and it lacks structure. And if you look at those things, those perfect profile, does any job come to mind in which this is the case most of the time? Do you have an idea? Because I have some. It's creative people, right? It's people who create stuff. It's writers, it's designers, it's artists, it's painters, it's entrepreneurs, everybody who is doing something that is not there yet. It's all autonomous. There's mostly no deadline. It's ambiguous and it lacks structure. So we all are in this situation, especially in this group. So let's take a look at the first two, autonomous and no deadline. Those are actually easy to solve. And I'm going to use a method that is widely known, but it's really great written in the book Grip from Rick Pastor. So maybe you know this book, but it's really a useful book for being more productive. And it's about finding yourself an accountability partner. And accountability partner means that you're not doing it alone anymore. You have somebody to keep you accountable on your things. And also, if you tell somebody what is your goal, your project, you have a deadline because you're speaking to this person a lot. And you cannot say every week, okay, I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. There's a deadline, which is not a real deadline, but talking to people, and especially accountability partner, really helps. So my accountability partner is Sander. We meet every week. I talk 15 minutes, he talks 15 minutes. I tell him what I've done, what went well, what I could have done better, and what I will do next week. And during the week, we help each other out with not procrastinate. So for example, I asked him last week to send him a message asking me about my theory lessons I have to do for my flight training, and he should ask me a fact. So when he asked me this message just on WhatsApp, then I really have to, okay, shit, I didn't read that chapter yet. I have to start reading it because I have to answer him. So that really helps making me accountable towards him to do the work I need to do. So how do you get an accountability partner? Well, that's really easy. We're going to hook you up with one. We're going to do a breakout session, and we're going to ask each other 2 questions. So we need to find one concrete nagging project, what you're procrastinating on, and you're going to make a meeting invitation for next week, a date for half an hour to talk this through. So this is going to be a random thing. So in pairs, and you have to do it with this person for now. You can next week skip it, of course, if you don't like it, but it's just a nice experience to do this. So 2 questions: what are you procrastinating on? What real project do you have that you can get help with? And when you meet again, so exchange contact details to make that date. See you in a few minutes.
Yes, I'll open the rooms.
How to find one? Well, look in your own network, find someone positive and reliable. So there's a lot of Facebook book groups where you can find accountability partners. The Miracle Morning community has over 150,000 members. Of course, there's an app for that, Supporty. It's especially made for finding accountability partners. There's FocusMate, which is quite interesting. Also, if you want to work for an hour on something, you can just meet somebody with FocusMate who does the same, and your accountability partner is right in front of you. You can work together and not be distracted because, well, somebody is looking at you. And Grip, the author of this book, Ricky, is organizing speed dates to find your accountability partner, and that's where I found mine. It's quite nice. All right, let's go to ambiguous, because that's the next character of one of these projects. And well, one of my things was launch a website. And you think, okay, I'm a designer. I've been designing 100 websites. So what's the problem? Just do it. You know, you've been trained to do this. You've been doing this for years. But you can say to yourself, okay, this one is important to fill. It's difficult. I don't have a team like I had before. We have all kind of excuses. What if I can't find inspiration? Oh, it's so much work. Where do I start? Or what if they don't like it? You know, there's a lot of insecurity and doubt about starting any project that is big and ambiguous. So that's why procrastination is more of an emotional regulation problem and not a time management problem. So there's anxiety, insecurity, frustration, fear of losing control. There are all kinds of emotions when we talk about procrastination. So you can look at it like this. I found this image. I really like this. So there's the pain level and there's time. So we are at A right now and we're procrastinating. And that's because we have to go through more pain, more doubts, more insecurity, and we have to go over this hump to get to B, which is actually lower. So the pain level is lower. So we know already if we done this task, this project, then we are in a better position. But still, we have to climb this hill first to get there. And that's really difficult. And procrastination is really about not going up that hill and staying with A as much as possible. It's really a short-term thing that sticks, that makes you not progress. But we all know in B, there's less pain. So we should get there and we should go over this hill. So what we can do to fix that is looking from the emotional side to this problem. And that's why Paul Lomans wrote a book called Ik heb de tijd, I have the time. And the method is called time surfing. And he says you have to transform gnawing rats into white sheep. So these are the rats, and they're gnawing and they're annoying and they make noise and keep you awake at night because you have this project and this thing that you have to finish, but you don't want to do this. So you have to transform them into white sheep. So he is Paul Lomans is like a Zen master, a monk, and he's going really for the Zen style after this problem. And he is not into lists or planning or structure. He has a way of dealing with these things emotionally. So if you are also not in the structural way of working, this book is really interesting to take a look at. And he is asking a few questions. He has the white sheet plan about your project. So, for example, what do I already know about the solution? What do I not know about the solution? What might be a great first step forward? And what kind of help do I need with this project? And am I apprehensive of something? What am I actually afraid of? So you're going to ask yourself a whole bunch of questions about this project that actually goes deeper into why you're procrastinating on it. And that's also what I like to do in the next breakout. I like to ask you to interview your accountability partner on that project that you just discussed with each other. So what kind of help do you need in taking this project further? What are you afraid of? Why are you procrastinating on this? Is it insecurity? Is it fear of losing control? And do you have a limiting belief? Do you have something in your mind that makes you think, I cannot do it for some reason? What is the difficulty with it? And if the answer is yes, if there's some limiting belief, what is your desired belief? What do you want to believe about yourself that makes it more easy to start working on this project? So take a screenshot of these 4 questions. I think that's the easiest. And then go to a breakout room with your accountability partner and interview each other with these questions and see if you can get more deeper into the nature of this project that you're procrastinating on.
Yes, opening the rooms now.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. Matthijs, take it away.
All right, so yeah, that was that one. So let's look at the structure, the last one to tackle. And I think structure is actually, well, I think it's easy, but creating structure is simple. You only have to do two things. You have to define a project and a next action. And a project is an outcome, and the next action is a small tangible step towards the outcome. So if you have an outcome, you have the end goal, and you have small steps toward it. And that's all the structure you need. So let's take a look at how that works for me. So for example, I had to write a pitch deck for my business. But a pitch deck, it's not really an outcome. If you have this on your to-do list, you don't know what it is. It's what is your action and what is your outcome? So maybe I just go wax my board or go get some groceries or check my email. This is really easy. If you write stuff down like this, you're going to procrastinate because it's too vague. It's not actionable. You can't do anything with this. So I have two lists. One is a project and the other one is a next action. So let's look at the projects. We're going to write it like an actual outcome. So in this case, I could send out a convincing pitch deck to 5 or more investors. So this is really an outcome. If I make this, if this is done, then I'm really happy because it's convincing, it's positive. I have at least 5 investors I send it to. So for me, this is an outcome I really want to achieve. So this is inspiring for me to do something about this. So the next action, it's not pitch deck because pitch deck is nothing. That's not an action. So what I'm going to look for, the first next physical thing I can do. So design a pitch deck, well, a little bit better, but still not really actionable. Maybe create an outline for the pitch deck, just seeing what I could do to make the steps. That's also a possibility. For me, it's still too vague. So maybe first get some inspiration. So how to get some inspiration? Okay, Google 3 inspirational pitch decks. Hey, that's easy. I can just go to Google. I can look for 3 inspirational pitch decks, and that's what I can do. I cannot really procrastinate on this because, well, it's just a simple step, right? There's nothing that's holding me back. I can just open my browser and start searching. So this is really a next action. It has a verb. I don't have to think about it. If I see this, I can just open up my computer and start working on this. So this is a real next action. So what happens to me if I start working on this next action? Google 3 inspirational pitch decks. I probably create a folder to save the downloads to. So now I have a folder. Then I probably scroll through them, and maybe I have some ideas already about my own pitch deck. And then I'm going to look for tips on storyline because I see that the different pitch decks have a different build-up. So I'm going into those details. And then I get distracted by an Instagram notification, and then I'm out of my flow again. But at least I started this project because I got so concrete in the beginning. So what I do now, I look at my project list. I do that every now and then. I do it every week. Oh yeah, that pitch deck I was doing. What is the next action? Sketch out storyline on post-its. Okay, I can get post-its. I already have some ideas. I can do this. Maybe it takes 5 minutes. Just put everything what I want to say on my table, on my desktop, and go from there. So that one is done. And then again, okay, create 3 master slides. Also really concrete. I already have the first steps. I have my storyline. And from there, okay, I have the master slides. Now I can add content. Now I put all the content in post-its. I share with a friend to get feedback. And now I'm really getting into my project. So by making it really tangible, really small, really thinking deep about this next action, what is really the thing I need to do first? And that can be calling somebody, Googling something, writing something down. It has to be really small and easy because the whole project is built up on these small actions. Nothing is really difficult or scary or anything like that. If you make it small enough, it's really easy to get started. So this is my folder, and you see it's building up with new versions of this pitch deck. This is the first version, one of the first. This is the last one. So I sent it to these 5 investors. They were really positive. This is how the slide deck looks in the end. But for me, it was a really daunting project in the beginning because I thought so much work, and what if they didn't like it, and how do I convince those people? But by breaking it up in next actions, every time thinking about what's next action, keeping the outcome in mind, you'll in the end get there and get your project done. So let's try this out. Let's go to the breakout 3. 2 questions. what is the name of your project, and write it down as a desired outcome, make it positive, make it inspiring, and what is really the next action, and try to get your accountability partner to think what is really the next action that person can do today to start this project, and put a verb in there and make it as easy as possible. So let's do that. And this is the last breakout, and then we get back to the end.
Opening the rooms now. Nice. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully, a list of actions. Matthijs?
Yes. All right. Yeah. So this is the almost the final slide. So let's first get into the questions, and then I like to hear some of your project and next action that you wrote down. So first, how do you avoid getting lost in next action like Google 3 inspirational pitch decks? I could get completely lost online and fall into perfecting that task. Well, that's actually a good one. I myself don't have so much problem with that. Normally, when I set myself this task to get 3 inspirational pitch decks, I might find 4 or 5, but then I'm done with it, and then I start going to the next. The thing is that you don't write down all your actions. That's also the next questions. This is the first one, and if you finish this one, you have to continue to the next. What I try to do, I try to get in a flow and find these inspirational decks, and then not think about really the next actions. But once you're in it, you will continue until you're not anymore. And with this particular action, maybe you set a time box or something. You have the Pomodoro timer. Say, okay, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes, and then it's enough. Maybe that helps for you in this case. Just saying, okay, I'm going to spend this amount of time on this quite simple next action, and then continue from there. So do you really write down all the actions as detailed as that? Well, only with the checkbox. So for example, let's go back here to this one. So the checkbox items, I write down. So Google 3 inspirational pitch decks, but the things below, I just do that automatically because I'm already in the flow. So when I'm stopping this because I got distracted and I'm looking at my projects, hey, I have to do something about this pitch deck. I will write down again in detail what the next action is, and I put that on a list. So when I'm in the context or in the right time frame to do this, I look at that and I don't have to think about it anymore. So if I would write a storyline, I think, okay, what was that again? I don't know. I'm going to do something else. But if I write down, sketch out storyline and post-its, then it's much easier to do that because it's so concrete and because I already thought about it. So I don't have to think about it. I just do stuff then. So I really write down all my actions in detail, but from here, not anymore. Once I'm doing the storyline or create master slides, I'll continue. So I don't write down everything, only the things I'm planning to do on a later stage. All right, let's go to the last slide. Does anybody wants to share what you wrote down as a project and next action? Does anybody have some examples? What did you encounter with your accountability buddy?
No one? Then I'm gonna pick on someone. Iskander, what is your next project?
Oh, that's funny when you ask me. Well, as you know, probably we're not working on a project now. We've made some videos in New York City a couple of years back already, and it was like our own fun little project. And basically, we made 3 video portraits of people that we really liked and admired. But the problem is we only had a little amount of time, and in the interview we had so much information which we liked that we didn't feel like we had enough video to cover all their information, so to say. So they say a lot of stuff, and it's not fun to watch a talking head for 10 minutes. So it's kind of, well, we kind of forgot about the project and it was just lying there. But it's super nice, we think. And then later on we decided like, hey, maybe since we've got so much valuable audio, but not enough video, maybe we should make it into a podcast. How original. But it just kind of, sometimes we work on it and it's like, oh, it's actually really great. And then because there's no deadline indeed, because it's our own project, there's always something else to do when you have your own company, and it's always, so that's something we need to do. And in the first breakout room when we checked in with someone, I'm not sure if she's still here, Judith, we at least said like, you know what, we're gonna talk Monday the 17th, so in a little more than a week. And then we should at least have a first edit of the story outline, because it's there in part, but it's always like it's there, and then we don't look at it for another 3 months, and then we get excited again, and then something else comes up. So that's our next step, I guess.
Nice. Cool. Sounds good. Actionable.
Nice. I'll ask, anyone else want to share, and then we can continue on, or we want to keep these secrets to ourselves?
I can go next if nobody wants to.
Go ahead.
So my thing is that I want to add guests to my podcast, and I've been procrastinating on sending the requests. So I am going to take the email that I got from a podcast I was on, and I'm going to remake it into the email that I'm going to send. So I'm going to remix that.
Right, so what is your next action? Is that copy that text to your own template or something like that?
My next step, my next step will be to take that basic one that I was sent and write the text for mine.
Okay, yeah, and that's not, you can just do that without thinking, right? That's just something, okay, you see it on a list and you can start it, right? Because it's just opening one email, copy pasting to another. That's the first step, right? Yeah, how hard can it be? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, thanks for that. If you want to follow me, contact me on LinkedIn or our company at Eflight Academy or eflight.nl. So yeah, it was nice to be here. Hope you learned something.
Yeah, let's give Matthijs a round of applause. Unmute yourself if you can.
Yeah.
I can tell from
Yeah.
Nice. Yep.